everybody. Welcome to The Hydrant. My guest today is Karen E. Osborne. Now, Karen is kind of a dual personality. You can reach out to her at theosborngroup.com. She is a philanthropist. And not even so much, that's probably not even the right word. The group is involved in philanthropy and transformational management. They've been around a long time, about 25 years, serving nonprofits, helping them make the world a better place, which is kind of Karen's focus. So that's one side. Then there's the other side, which is she's an author of mystery novels and good mystery novels. And you can reach her at KarenEosborne.com. And she's got 3 novels, Getting It Right, Tangled Lies, and Reckonings, which is the most recent one. And she's been involved in all sorts of storytelling. So we have these two sides going on. So I wanted to talk to her about that. So first of all, welcome to the show. I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
It's great. And I know you tell the story of, telling stories when you were a kid in the Bronx, and it's just kind of grown into that. And the thing that kind of struck me was when you talked about writing your first book, Getting It Right, on airplanes and in the Delta Sky Club and hotel rooms around the country and the world. Having written a book myself and gone through that, I understand where that's coming from. But was that always in your mind once you started the Osborne Group? Was writing always something that you were playing with in the back of your mind?
I wanted to write since I was a little girl in high school. In my yearbook, it says under me, it says ambition, writer. But then, life, husband, children, career. And then these 2 women started talking to me and they just wouldn't stop. And I found out afterwards that that's very common, that this is what happens to authors. You have these characters in your head and they're competing and you got to pull over because talk about distracted driving, when you're having these whole conversations. So then I just thought, I've always wanted to do this and these women are demanding it. So I just took out my laptop and started writing.
And I can relate to that because I can remember going on long walks and just the characters would pop up into my head and they'd start talking and then I'd have to remember what they were talking about. So I got in the habit of bringing like a little mini recorder with me. And if something came up that was like, ooh, I'd record it and then go back and write. So I get it that they don't leave. Once they're there, they don't leave you alone.
They will not leave you. And I'm a long walker like you are. I walk in the evenings and these beautiful sunsets. Oh my gosh. And the stories just come, or a problem that I was trying to figure out, a plot twist that I was working on. And then it just comes to me, but I don't carry a recorder. So thank you, Jim. I need to thank you. Because I'm like, don't forget this.
Well, and now you don't need the extra one. You can do it on your phone. They have all the voice memo apps on your phone. So you just you can, like me, walk around talking to yourself and people give you weird looks. It's just like, so let's flip it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
From the philanthropy side. What got you going in that? What spoke to you up here to say, hey, this is something that is a need that needs to be filled?
So I had been for 18 years a fundraiser. I worked in higher education, and my last job was a VP at a small liberal arts college, Trinity College. And I was there for 5 years and 3 presidents. And so when there was one president too many, I called my husband and I said, I've just quit my job. And he said, whoa, baby, whoa, let's talk about this. And I said, no. And I stomped out. And so he's always been the wind beneath my wings, to use a cliche. So he said to me, Karen, just hang out your shingle. People know you, because I'd been volunteering for 18 years, teaching all over, going to conferences. And so people sat in my classrooms from all over the world. And he just convinced me. He said, if you let people know that you're now a consultant, they'll come. And he was right. I never lost one day of pay.
And you ended up also doing some teaching on the side at Johns Hopkins, right?
I did for 7 years. I was an adjunct.
Wow.
I was, I love you, Johns Hopkins University, but adjunct faculty members are pretty much indentured servants. You know, they are.
I get
Nobody
that.
loves you. So you have to do it because you either don't need the money, or if it's a career, a lot of them have to piece, it's like a gig economy. They have to piece different gigs around
Right.
instead of just, and some of these major universities have 50% of their faculty are adjuncts. Yeah, it was fun. I loved teaching. It was graduate students. So I really, and I love philanthropy, and I love people, and I look at it from every side. So I was a fundraiser, right? Asking people for
Right.
money, big money. And then I was a consultant teaching people how to do this, but I'm also a donor and a board member. I'm the chair of the board of Easter Seals, Florida, for example.
Oh,
And
cool.
so, yeah, so I really do look at it from all sides, and gives you good perspective about generosity and the difference that people can make. It fills you up. And you know what's interesting? The divide, the political divide is so intense out there in the world. But where you will find people like that working together is on a nonprofit board,
Mm,
right? Because what they have in common is the mission. What they have in common is we have to solve this problem, and we have to feed people, or we have to help people with disabilities, or whatever it is. And so there you have politically wouldn't invite you over for dinner kinds of people. but there we are working together on a board, solving problems together. And that's pretty amazing.
do you perceive there to be a drop in, not in the act of philanthropy, but people giving versus, 10, 15 years ago? Is it getting tougher and tougher to find donors?
What's so amazing, Jim, what is so amazing is that American people, actually philanthropy has taken over all over the world. It's
Mm,
we've exported it pretty much, and it's one of our best exports. But people continue to give. People
that's great.
continue to give, and some of the most generous people I know are some of the poorest people I know.
Mm,
Because they look and they just share what little they have. They find a way. Generosity is a powerful, powerful, um, I don't know what's the right word to use for it, thing, a powerful force, you
right.
know? And I love asking people, like I would ask you if we were just meeting and not doing this, I would say to you, how did you learn to be generous? How did
Mm,
you learn? What a great question. It makes people go back in their minds. Was it mom and dad? What didn't happen until I was in school? Was it in my religious, synagogue or church? How did I learn the joy of giving and the importance of generosity? I love asking that question.
it's a great question. I might have to add it to my list of questions because it is a great question. And I love watching things and seeing things that embody that spirit. There was a show on, I forget. Oh, it was about tornadoes and the damage that it does, and they focused a little bit on New Orleans again because New
Mm,
Orleans just seems to be a magnet for every disaster that can come along. And there was a guy who was just he was a chef, it was in Tennessee, that's what it was. And when they got wiped out in a tornado, he just went out with his little truck and started cooking food for people. I
yes.
mean, it's just like people have to
Yes.
eat, and it's like it was to him. It was all about community, and it's like the people that stay in this community that are going to help out are the true people of this community that bring people together, which is just so needed in this day and
It
age to bring
is.
people together instead of trying to separate us, which
You're
is
exactly right. And you're standing on a line feeding homeless people, and you don't know the person's politics who's standing next to you, who's helping you. And you don't know the politics of the people who are coming to get the food. You just know that you're doing something right. And there are people who are in need.
And
And doing,
which should be the focus. I mean, it shouldn't matter, what everybody's politics. It just doesn't matter. Um, if it's let's come together in this time of splitting apart, and let's put all that aside, and just we need to focus on doing X because X is desperately needed from a human
desperate,
standpoint.
desperately needed. And it's such a wonderful feeling when you walk away and know that that somebody wasn't hungry today,
Right.
or that somebody got an education that they wouldn't have, or, it just makes you feel good. When I talk about the joy of giving, it is that the giver gets that's the joy. Yes, the person receiving feels grateful or not or whatever, but you get this rush of joy.
And it doesn't have to
Mm.
be large. It doesn't have to be thousands or millions of dollars. And you talk about that joy. And, based on a couple videos that I saw, I actually went out and just hit a couple fast food places at lunchtime and just walked up and paid for people's lunches. And it's just like the look on
Yes.
their face is like, what are you doing? It's like there was an elderly woman at McDonald's. She was buying a cup of coffee and an ice cream sundae, her and her husband, and they were elderly. They were at least in their 70s, if not 80s. And her face just looked up at me and was like, why? I was like, why not?
Why not?
And she gave me a hug and I said, just have a nice day, and just, walked out. And the feeling that I got walking out of that is just it is such a rush. It is
It
such
really is.
an endorphin hit that it is just like, I love doing it. And, it's if
Yeah.
more people would do that, and just little things here and there,
Little things.
little acts of kindness would be.
Yeah. I saw this article called Joy Snacking. And it's just the idea of just having little things that give you joy instead of something having to being huge, just like giving. Just that gave you joy. It was a joy snack. It
Mm.
just took a few minutes. It didn't take long. And yet, but I do have to correct you, sir. You said you saw these elderly people. They had to at least be in their 70s. I am 74 years old and I am not elderly. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, I'm 66, so it's just like I'm getting there. I apologize. You're absolutely right. It's just like
But otherwise, the story was
senior people.
amazing.
Okay, how about that?
Senior
Senior
people.
people.
All right.
All right, that I can go with. um, okay, before I start asking you these bizarre questions, let's talk about Reckonings, your latest
Yes.
book. How's it doing? Well, it's I love that cover. It's a great cover given the topic of the book, and these are all mystery books, but the story
Yes.
of this book is just perfect. So, all right, let me ask you some of these bizarre things, and we'll see
Yes.
where it takes us.
I'm ready.
What profession, other than the two you've already done, would you like to attempt?
I have always wanted to be a lounge singer. The women that stand up, they're playing the piano
Right.
and she's in a slinky dress and she's got the microphone and she's singing her heart out and people are busy talking, but then they're so like rapt that they gets quiet because she's like amazing. Unfortunately, I am not young. I can't wear slinky and I have a terrible voice. But that's what I would like. Even my grandson asked me to please not sing. My number one grandson, my first one. And he said, Grammy, please don't sing. And I said, that's okay. I said, nobody likes Grammy singing. And he said, no one? And I said, no one. He said, okay, you can sing.
Aw. Grandkids the best. They're just the best.
Yes, they are. But that's what I wish I could be.
Okay. What's your favorite word?
Favorite word. Now, the first one that comes to my mind is generosity,
Mm.
but I think also kindness. I believe in kindness.
What's your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. No. Read the author's bane and the fundraiser's bane. No. Except rejection is an opportunity to learn. You can fail forward, but doesn't mean I have to like the word.
Right. What one thing can you not live without?
Books. Books. How
Uh,
would I
uh,
live without books?
I stand right there next to you. I've got piles and piles of them that are in my to read pile. So,
Yes, and on
abs-
my phone and on my laptop and
yes.
on my my iPad,
Mm.
books everywhere, everywhere.
What advice would you give yourself at age 15?
Oh, to tell somebody, to tell somebody.
Mm.
You know, secrets, they eat at you and they destroy you. And I would have, I think I would have had so much less pain if I just told somebody.
Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Viola Davis. I love Viola. Did you see her in The Woman King?
No, I didn't.
Oh my goodness, she got herself ripped. I mean, she has muscle. She's an amazing actor. I mean, she can do so much just with her head and her eyes. And as a writer, I study actors
Right.
because it helps, right? It helps you capture things on paper that you're looking at. But she's an amazing actor.
She is.
But
She is
she was
absolutely amazing.
fierce. She was fierce. She was fierce.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Yes.
Check it out. If you were an ice cream flavor, what would you be?
Cookies and cream.
I don't think we've had many of those. That's good.
Don't you think?
That's a
Ask
good one.
Bob. If you ask my Bob, he'd tell you, oh yeah, she's cookies and cream. We've been married for 54 years and he still thinks that. So there you go.
Hey, something's working. Something's working.
Something's working.
What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear. You know, this could sound like a cop out question answer, but it's not. I don't live with any fear. I
Hmm.
truly don't live with fear. I worry. I have worries, things that, is everybody, the kid's okay, or is this going
Right.
to work, that kind of stuff. But I am not afraid. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen next. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of, I don't live with fear. I truly, truly live with joy.
Okay, I'm going to give you two things here. It's kind of an either or, and you tell me what your preference is between the two of them.
Okay.
Um, Eggs, omelet or scrambled?
Omelet filled with vegetables.
Right. Passenger or driver?
I like being driven. I don't mind driving, but if I had my druthers, my chauffeur would pick me up on a regular basis and take me wherever. And then I could drink enough wine. I wouldn't have to worry about, like, are you drinking too much wine? Or, just put me in the car. Take me. I sleep.
We've been getting a
Unfortunately.
lot of those answers lately. It's like,
Oh, yes.
I want to be the passenger, but I have to be in the back seat. It's like, okay, I understand. Um, this is an obvious one. Summer or winter?
Summer. We moved from New York to Florida.
Florida. Toilet paper, over or under?
Okay, this is like the silliest thing. My husband has very strong feelings about this. He feels that it should be under. That's the way you're supposed to pull it. I just put it on in any way, like, surprise me. Oh, look, it's over. Like, who cares? But I understand that people have strong feelings about this.
Strong is a relative word. People get militant about this, where they say, if I go into someone's house and I see it's not over, I'm changing it. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Exactly.
Cake or pie?
Oh, I have such a weakness for pie. I'm a baker.
So am I.
And are you? What do you like to bake?
Oh, I do a lot of cookies, a lot of brownies. I like pies. I like cakes. So I
Yeah.
had
So
my
that's
own
me.
little baking business for a while. So that was,
Oh.
yeah. So yeah, no,
Well, I love to bake, and I try not to bake pies because I have a hard time not eating them.
right. There's certain things I know if I make, I'm going to end up eating it because my
Oh,
wife's not a dessert person. So it's just like, I like making it, but it's the consequences are too,
it's very dire.
right. Book or Kindle?
uh, so I love holding a book. I
Mm,
love holding a book. Can't travel though with 3 books,
right.
and which I used to do. I used to travel with all of them because if you finish one, you got to have another one.
Absolutely.
So having an e-reader, having Audible is just a wonderful thing. But I still love holding books, and I still choose which books I buy this way versus ebook
Mm,
or Audible book. Yeah.
right. Right. Okay. Let's move into these would you rather questions and see what kind of trouble we can get in here. What superpower would you rather have? The ability to unlock every door or the ability to shapeshift?
Shapeshift. That would be so cool. And people wouldn't know. I'd be the cat sitting over there just watching, and they would have no idea it was me, and I'd listen. I love hearing conversations that I'm not supposed to hear. A friend gave me a shirt that said, "Be careful what you say to her. You're going to end up in her novel."
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
if could be a cat, or I could be just somebody, a bird, you know. And then when they seem like they're not taking good care of me, just get back to being me.
My sister gave me that same shirt. I have one of those shirts. So it's just
Yes.
I get it. Would you rather have all traffic lights you approach be green or never have to stand in line again?
Oh, green, because standing in line, I'm listening to a book, I'm writing in my head, I'm watching the people in front of me. But in the car, sitting there waiting for the light to turn green is not as much fun because I
Right.
have to got to stay focused on what I'm doing. And yeah,
Unless you have like an audiobook playing in the car, but
which I often do.
I do
Which
too.
plus I like the station that has like Gunsmoke and these old radio
The old
shows.
radio shows, yeah.
Yes, I like those.
Would you rather live in a haunted castle or an abandoned train station?
Oh, geez, Louise. A haunted castle. I guess I'd go with the haunted castle, and I would try and use it for research.
There's a true writer for you.
Right? And see if I could talk to some of the ghosts, like, tell me what's going on with you. Just talk
Right.
to me.
Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or fly?
Fly, fly. I'd love to fly. That would be so, so cool.
It
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
And I hate flying. I mean, it's one of my big problems. But have the ability to do it and have it be innate and second nature, yeah, it's a different ballgame.
Yes.
So, would you rather have telekinesis, the ability to move things with your mind, or telepathy, the ability to read people's minds?
Of course, telepathy. Right? This is both the writer and the fundraiser needs telepathy. We
Good
need to
point.
know what you're really thinking because I need it for my story, or I need it for, she's sitting there thinking, I'm never giving this woman a dime. And I'm thinking, I was thinking it was all going well. And now, boom, shift.
Right.
So telepathy.
Big time saver.
Big time.
Big time saver. Would you rather have everything you are thinking appear above your head in a bubble for everyone to see, or have absolutely everything you do be live streamed for everyone to see?
This is an awful choice, Jim.
Yes, it is.
This is really,
question.
I'm sure somebody has talked to you about this one.
Yes, yes. I think it was PJ Oakland, who's an actor, who just kind of looked at me and was like, this is the seventh circle of hell. What are you doing?
Exactly.
This question.
This is a really bad one. This is like a bubble over my head or live streamed. I guess the bubble. But it would all be bad. People would be like, oh my God, Karen, I always thought you were fill in the blank. And now I know this is who you are. Oh boy, this is great. This would be so bad, so bad.
If someone came to you and said, I really want to be a writer, what's the first thing you would tell them to do?
To write. If you want to be a writer, writers write. That's the first thing. But I would also say, study your craft.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how long you've been writing, how successful you are, you want to always keep trying to be better. You want to learn your craft. Learn your craft from reading great writers. Learn your craft by reading in your genre. Learn your craft by taking classes, whatever, having a coach. I have a writing coach right now because I'm writing historical fiction, and I've never written historical fiction before, and I hate research. So this is an odd choice.
That's a problem.
Exactly. This is a really odd choice. I like making stuff up, but I just study your craft. Study your craft.
Thank you for doing this. That was pretty painless, wasn't it?
It was. Thank you. So now please thank the young woman who invited me. I wasn't sure, but now that we finished,
I'll tell her.
I'm delighted. Thank you so
much. You can find out more about Karen, find out about her books at KarenOsborne.com, or just go to Amazon. Karen E. Osborne. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to screw that up. Pick any of her books. And I'm looking forward to reading Reckonings. I've read Getting It Right, which was wonderful. And so check out there. Or should I tell people about the Osborne Group?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
My son owns the company now, so
okay.
Help my son.
Go to theosbornegroup.com. You can find out all about philanthropy opportunities, and even if you want to bring that into your own company, how to go about doing that and that sort of thing. So once again, thank you. Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you. Had a great time.
We'll see you again next time on The Hydrant.